Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of the Golden Age. This is our series of Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports, and this is Battle Report number 86. It is a 3,000 point battle that is fought between Iron Major as well as myself. Iron Major is bringing the Nation of Fallen Holds, a 3,000 point dwarf army, and I'm bringing back the Gorepilgrims of the Bloodwind spoil, my 3,000 point Chaos Legion of Khorne army. And I gotta say, it feels good to be playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle again after a long spell of not being able to do it. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play some background music real quick. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing for this battle report, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought, or why we died. No. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
Alright, the scenario rules for this one is Battle Line. It is the most typical game of Warhammer we play on this channel with standard deployment as well as standard victory conditions as always. And here's a shot of the entirety of the battlefield, so that way you can see exactly what it looks like. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about deployment real quick as well as the battle plan. Alright, so here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, we're playing on a 4x6 table. I am deployed on the near side of the table, while Iron Major's forces are deployed on the far side of the table. And I'm going to have my work cut out for me on this battle. The reason why I could tell that is because Iron Major has decided to go with a denied flank type of deployment. His left flank is pretty much protected by terrain, while his right flank is the only side that is open. He is running a gun line for this army build. This is the Nation of Fallen Holds army list, so there's a lot of artillery as well as a lot of shooting elements, and he's kind of spaced out accordingly. There's a lot of fields of fire between me as well as my opponent, so pretty much my plan is to cross the battlefield as quickly as I can and then try to engage his forces. The problem with fighting against a gun line list is that the only real weakness that a gun line has, especially if it's dwarves, is the flanks. By deploying on the far left-hand side like that, Iron Major has pretty much defended his left-hand flank, which only leaves open his right-hand flank. So as you can see there, I got my cavalry forces there on the right. Their goal is to kind of sweep around the right, hit those hammers, hopefully take out his gun line there in the middle of the hill. At the same time, I'm going to try to march my infantry forces as quick as they can across the battlefield and not get shot at. To make matters worse, you can kind of see it, but it's kind of cut off here in the photo. In the bottom left-hand corner, Iron Major deployed Bloodwind's Rangers right there to also kind of mess with me as well. So like I said, I got my work cut out for me on this battle report. So with the battle plan over, let's go and talk about deployment real fast. Alright, so starting on the left-hand flank of my battlefield of my army for the Gorepilgrims of the Bloodwind spoil. On the left-hand side I have the Fangs of Nyr, which is a unit of 5 Chaos Warhounds. And our next on the right-hand side is the Flayers of the 8 Points. It is a unit of 23 Bloodletters of Khorne. They have Musicians, Standard Bearer. They also got Hellblades. And also leading that unit is the Sanguine Skinner. He's a Herald of Khorne. He's also my Battle Standard Bearer for my army. He's got the Greater Locus of Fury, so that way he and his entire unit have Frenzy. So these guys have really good attacks now. So I'm really excited to see exactly how they throw down in combat. In the center, I have two other units. On the left-hand side, that is a unit called the Marked Men. It is a unit of 27 Chaos Warriors of Khorne, with Musician as well as Standard Bearer. They have Marks of Khorne as well as Halberds. Also, they're packing the Banner of Rage, so that way they can never lose their Frenzy. So these guys are really kitted out to kill as well. And leading that unit is my army's general, Scylla Angrenfim. He is my general. He's also the special character. He's the Chaos Spawn special character as well. And he's also got the Brass Collar of Khorne. And then right next on the right-hand side, I am proud to debut the very first game with my my newest unit, the Black Legion. It is a unit of 23 chosen of Khorne with full command. They have Marks of Khorne as well as halberds. Also leading that unit is Svarthal the Weakest. He is a Chaos Sorcerer, level 2, Lore of Metal. He's got the Shrieking Blade to give him fear. He's also got the Enchanted Shield for 1-up armor save, as well as a Staff of Sorcery to give him +1 to dispels. Pretty much I'm just dragging this guy along so that way I can dispel any enemy spells that might come my way. It's not going to do me much good against a dwarf list, but them's the break. He's also packing the 2 spells Enchanted Blades of Iban, as well as the Glittering Robes. And also for the Rewards of Chaos, this whole unit of Chosen has +1 to their Strength characteristic. And then finally making my far right-hand flank are my last 2 units of cavalry. On the left-hand side, those are the Crimson Riders, a unit of 3 Blood Crushers of Khorne with a standard bearer. They got Hellblades and riding Juggernauts of Khorne. And right next to them on the right-hand sides are the Scions of the Destroyer. They're a unit of 10 Chaos Knights with a Musician and standard bearer. They have ensorcelled weapons as well as the standard discipline, giving the unit +1 to the leadership just because they're not going to be within range of my general. If you'll notice, Karnak as well as my Flesh Terrors, my unit of 5 Flesh Hounds of Khorne, are not on the table, and that's because they're off to the side waiting to ambush later on. So with my deployment over with, let's go and talk about Iron Major's deployment real fast. Alright, so starting my left-hand side for the Nation of the Fallen Holds, scouting up in the far left-hand corner there is Bugman's Rangers. As you have 19 Dwarf Rangers with the Bugman's Rangers upgrade. They have Musician as well as Standard Bearer. They're packing hand weapons, great weapons, dwarf crossbows, throwing axes, heavy armor, as well as shields, so they're very dangerous. And leading them is Joseph Bugman himself, the special character. He's got a dwarf crossbow, Gromwell armor, as well as shield. He's got Old Trustworthy, his magical axe, as well as Bugman's Tankard, which gives this unit, some additional bonuses as well. And that pretty much makes up his left-hand deployment for Iron Major. Meanwhile, across the battlefield on his deployment area on the far left-hand side, that is called Clan Izmir the Vengeful Ones. They're a unit of 18 Dwarf Quarrelers. They have Musician as well as Standard Bearer. They're packing hand weapons, great weapons as well. They're also packing Dwarf Crossbows, heavy armor, as well as shields, so very kitted out to kill unit. And then right next to them, right in the middle, that is Clan Roadsoker. It is a unit of 37 Dwarf Warriors, also known as the Cursed Companies, what these guys are called. They got Musicians as well as Standard Bearer. They got hand weapons, heavy armor, as well as shields. And also in that unit are a couple of characters. First of all is Ivar Bodison, the Lord of Fallen Holds. He is the general for this army. He's a Dwarf Lord armed with a runic weapon, packing the Rune of Pairing. He's also got a shield. He's also riding shield bearers as well. He's also got runic armor with 1 rune of Fortitude as well as 2 runes of iron. So the unkillable tank Dwarf Lord is what he's basically packing. In that unit as well, with that giant B battle standard bearer, that is Yorick Shatter Shield, the Chosen of Grugni. He is a battle standard bearer. He's a Thane. He's also got a great weapon, Gromroll armor, as well as shield, and he's also packing the Master Rune of Grugni, giving this unit 5-up ward saves against magic missiles as well as shooting attacks, which is not going to be a really big problem because I'm not packing any shooting in my army. Also in this unit as well is Ragnar the Spellbreaker. He is a Rune Smith with great weapon, Gromwell armor, and shield, and he's got 2 runes of spell breaking as well. In the center of his army, he's got Clan Helheim, the Fallen of the Dragonbacks, his unit of 17 Thunderers with Musician, as well as Standard Bearer. They also got hand weapons as well as dwarf handguns. They also have heavy armor as well as shield as well. Also on the left-hand side behind him, that is the Rememberer, is a Grudge Thrower with 1 rune of Penetrating. Right next to him on the right-hand side, that is the Sorrows of Eld. It is a dwarf cannon with a rune of Burning. And then right next to the far right-hand side, that is a Decembrus. It is a dwarf under organ gun with the rune of Accuracy as well. Also in that unit, Clan Helheim, is the special character Grim Borlikson, the Dwarf Engineer special character. And finally, the far right-hand side, we have Clan Stormcloak, the Brethren of Valaya. They're a unit of 19 Dwarf Hammers with full command as well. They're packing great weapons as well as heavy armor. They're also packing the Master Rune of Valaya on their runic standard, giving +2 to the army's Dispel, giving them 4-up Dispel on magic, which is going to be kind of rough because I only got a level 2 wizard to do any magic with, so kind of scary that part. And plus leading that unit is Torchstick Blackbriar. He is a Rune Smith with great weapon, Gromwell armor as well as shield, and he's got 1 rune of spell breaking. And that makes up Iron Major's deployment on this one. So with deployment over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and both Iron Major and I roll off for initiative to see who will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1, and the Dwarves managed to get the initiative on this one, so Iron Major will be going first, and this is the photograph of the entire table after the movement phase, and as you can see, the Dwarves don't do any movement whatsoever. These guys are Dwarves, they really don't need to move all that often, and plus, for him to move is actually a disadvantage because most of his shooting elements in his army are either move or shoot, so if he does move any of his people, they can't shoot, so it doesn't make any sense for him to do any of that. So because of that, everything pretty much stays exactly where it's located at. So here's a close-up of Bugman's Rangers staying exactly where they're located at, here in the left-hand corner of the battlefield, just kind of chilling out and getting ready to do some problems. I'm really worried about that unit because if they charge my back ranks, they can really chop up some units. Plus, they can shoot with crossbows and catch my guys with crossfires, so that's all kinds of terrifying. And here's a close-up of the rest of Iron Major's army, just kind of sitting there looking pretty. And I forgot to mention this, but I forgot to mention this for the Ancestral Grudge. In the back there, you can see the little green placard there. For the Ancestral Grudge, he rolled a 4, which means that all the characters of his army hates all of my characters. So, you know, pretty bad, all things considered. For me, anyways. Good for him, not so great for me. So with move phase over with, we skip the magic phase because dwarves don't play that game, and we go directly to the real magic phase with the dwarves, which is the shooting phase. So during the shooting phase, as you can see here, with combined fires from both the Bugman's Rangers as well as Clan Easemere, they open up with their crossbows directly into the flares of the 8 points. Managed to kill 6 of my Bloodletters just right off the bat. It was all kinds of horrible. Bloodletters only have a 6-up Scaly Skin save and a 5-up ward, and unfortunately I just dropped the ball on all my ward saves. So right off the bat, a quarter of my units is gone. Luckily for me though, I am playing with demons, so because of they are unbreakable and they also have to work, they're also immune to psychology, so yeah, I guess that's that for small blessings, I guess. And I got really lucky over here on the far right hand side. Iron Major decides to concentrate fire with all of his artillery pieces directly into the Black Legion. First of all, he does fire one of his, he actually does fire the Remember, which is the Grudge Thrower, directly into this unit. It just kind of deviates a little bit and manages to clip one of my guys, but luckily for me, I armor saved that shot, so no harm there. The cannon also fired onto this unit as well, but luckily for me though, when he got to the bounce, he only managed to hit one of my fighters, took out one of my fighters from cannon fire, so I got really lucky on that one. And then also when it came to his organ gun, he actually rolled to see how many shots he got, and he actually rolled 2 misfires. And traditionally, it would blow up. It would, have some kind of misfire effect on the black powder charge. But because Grim Warlock Sun's right next to it, though, they get to re-roll one more artillery dice. So because he did roll again, and he got a 6, meaning he only got 3 shots this time. So he only has the number of shots that he has. Luckily for me, he only killed 3 more of my Black Legion, and still that's kind of rough though, because my guys are just basically favorite targets compared to dwarf shooting. And with that, that pretty much ends turn number 1 for the dwarves. And that takes us directly to the bottom, turn number 1 for the Chaos Legion of Khorne, and this photo is taken after the move phase, and as you can see in this photo, I am hailing on. I'm just moving across the battlefield as quickly as I can, because if I linger too long, I'm going to get shot to pieces before I even get a chance to engage him in close combat. So first of all, as you can see here, the first thing I do, of course, is I march up my cavalry units. So I march up my Scions of the Destroyer up to the left-hand flank. Same thing with the Crimson Riders, using those buildings as kind of like cover. I also march forward the marked men as well as the Black Legion, using the forest to kind of protect the marked men, and hopefully the building can also protect my Black Legion as well. At least I thought so anyways. I realized later on though it didn't really do anything, because all of his artillery pieces as well as his Thunderers have a line of sight directly into the Black Legion, so that part was kind of sad. At the same time, I also marched up the flares of the 8 points as well, using the forest as somewhat as cover, so that way it's not as bad being shot to pieces, but it's not looking good so far. Finally, in the very bottom left-hand corner, of course, you can see there I kind of wheeled my Fangs of Near, marched them and just wheeled them over 90 degrees in order to face off against Bugman's Rangers. My hope is that my Chaos Warhounds can stop or at least delay Bugman's Rangers for a little while, so that way they don't charge to the rear of any of my forces, because that would be really, really tragic if that ended up happening. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. So here's a close-up of the Fangs in the air, getting ready to square off against Bugman's Rangers, and I have no illusions that my Chaos Warhounds are going to survive this combat, or any shooting for that matter. I'm just trying to delay the Bugman's Rangers as long as I possibly can, because a nightmare scenario for me would be the Bugman's Rangers actually manage to charge directly into the flank or the rear of any one of my units, and that would just be all kinds of horrible for me. Here's a close-up of the flares of the 8 points, taking some cover behind those forests and praying to Khorne that they don't get shot off the table. And exactly the same thing is taking place here in the middle of the table with my marked men as well as my Black Legion. The marked men are somewhat protected by the forest, while the Black Legion are just right there, right out in the open, and that's not doing any good for them at all. In fact, the only people who are protected from shooting right now are the Crimson Riders right there, up there in the front. And finally, here's a close-up of the Scions of the Destroyer, skirting up to the right-hand flank and getting ready to charge as quickly as they can into the right-hand flank of the Nation of Fallen Holds. So the movement phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And in the magic phase, I managed to roll 7 on the power dice, meaning I managed to get Khorne's Wrath on this one. And what you do for Khorne's Wrath is that you roll a d6 for every unengaged unit on the table. On a roll of a 6, they suffer so many strength 3 hits, so that part is kind of nice because I don't have any really magic missiles in my army. And in the end, Khorne's Wrath ended up being more like Khorne's wet backhand, I guess, because the only thing it did is magic kill one crossbowman from Clan Izmir, as well as one dwarf warrior from Clan Roadsulker, and that was all that Reign of Chaos chart actually did. So it was kind of a whimper. Not much really happened. And to make matters worse, Svarthal the Weakest, who is living up to his name in my army, tries to cast Glittering Robes off onto the Black Legion to give him a 2-up armor, add 2 more to their armor saves from the shooting phase of the Dwarves. Unfortunately for me, though, Ragnar the Spellbreaker, which is Iron Major's Runesmith, who's packing 2 runes of spell breaking, he decides to stop that spell and also rolls a d6 and has it destroyed. So because of that, I no longer have glittering robes on my army. The only thing I have is the blades of Iban is all I have, and that's not going to do me any good because Chaos Warriors are pretty good at fighting anyways, and there is no need for magical attacks. So just like that, my magic phase is pretty much on lockdown for the rest of the battle report. So with that being said, there is no shooting because my army doesn't play that game, and there is no close combat, so we go directly to the next turn for the Dwarves. So we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Dwarves, and this photo is taken after the move phase, and as you can see in this photo, not much movement has really happened with the Dwarves. The only thing that really happens is in the bottom left-hand corner there, you can see that Bugman's Rangers, they declare a charge directly against my Chaos Warhounds from the Fangs of Nyr, and they make it. Now, if you notice, the 2 units are not touching, and the reason why is because there's a bunch of trees on the top of that hill. Needless to say, they did make the charge, we just can't physically put them together on the top of the hill, but using the power of imagination, you can imagine these Dwarf Rangers are actually engaged in close combat with those Chaos Warhounds. So that part was actually pretty crazy. Everything else in this army, though, stays exactly where they're at because there's no need for them to move. So here's a close-up of Bugman's Rangers charging directly to the top of the hill into the Fangs of Nyr. And like I said, I have no illusions of my Chaos Warhounds surviving this attack. They're just a 30-point throwaway unit just to throw at targets as chaff to be eaten up and destroyed, and just delay my enemy as long as possible. My hope is that if the Bugman's Rangers do destroy my Chaos Warhounds, hopefully he will not be able to overrun directly into the back of my Flares of the 8 points. If he does manage to overrun, that would be horrific and be all kinds of bad for me. So I'm just kind of praying that that doesn't happen in this scenario. And here's a close-up of Iron Major's main fighting lines, which are standing exactly where they're at because there is no need for these guys to move. And I do apologize for earlier, there was some movement with Iron Major in the far right-hand flank with his Clan Stormcloak. All they did is they just kind of backed up just a little bit by, I think, an inch or 2, and just getting the angle off so that way they can square off against either the Crimson Riders or against the Signs of Destroyer. And that's really the only movement he's done. And with the move phase over with, we skip magic phase because dwarves don't believe in magic, and we go to the real dwarf magic phase, which is the shooting phase. So in the shooting phase, Clan Izmir opens up with their crossbows directly into my Bloodletters, which is all kinds of tragic. At the same time, the Remember also managed to open up with the Grudge Thrower directly into this unit, killed 4 of my Bloodletters, which is all kinds of bad. Luckily for me, most of the shots from the crossbow were pretty much mitigated by the forest, so that part was kind of nice. The actual 3 of these demons actually got killed from the Grudge Thrower. That part was horrific. I managed to clip the back left-hand corner of my unit and just kill 3 of those guys right off the bat. Bloodletters, man, they're really, really fragile. I did not expect to see that coming when they're taking some long-range shots, so that part was horrific. However, the most horrific losses that I actually suffered was right here with my Markman. I lose 10 of my Chaos Warriors of Khorne from shooting. It was all kinds of horrible. Oh my god. Iron Major decided to focus shots with Clan Helheim with the Fall on the Dragonback, so they open up with their Thunderers, and I think they managed to kill 2 or 3 of my guys. The Forest did mitigate most of their shots, so that part was kind of nice. However, the cannon, the Sorrows of Eld, as well as the Decemberist, the organ gun, though, had perfect line of sight directly at this unit. So luckily, Iron Major decided not to shoot at my Black Legion. He decided to concentrate fire instead on my Chaos Warriors, and by the time it was all said and done, the smoke cleared. He managed to kill 10 of these guys, dropping my unit by a third, just like that with 1 round of shooting. And like I said, if I keep on taking these kind of losses, it's all kinds of bad, and I might have to rethink my strategy. I might have to take cover somewhere else, because if I keep on getting shot like this, all kinds of bad are going to happen. And in the combat phase, oh my god, the combat phase. Bugman's Rangers had no problem whatsoever, just curb stomping my 5 Chaos Warhounds. The Fangs of Nyr get destroyed to the last man. I think it was just the Joseph Bugman, I think like a couple of attacks from his Dwarf Rangers was enough to finish off my Chaos Warhounds. And because he charged the unit and destroyed it in the first round of combat, he does get to overrun. And when he rolled to see how far he overran, he ran 12 inches, rolled boxcars like a boss, and goes directly into the left-hand flank of the Flayers flares of the 8 points, catching me in a flank charge. So that part was absolutely horrible, which is absolutely the worst nightmare that could happen for these guys, because now they're stuck in close combat with the unit of Rangers, and just being delayed from assaulting the left-hand flank, which means those crosswind for Clan Easmere can still rain all kinds of chaos with some long-range shooting directly into my units. So that part was all kinds of bad, I don't mind telling you. So with that, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Chaos Legion of Khorne, and this is where I start chickening out. First of all, in the move phase, the first thing I do, of course, I declare a charge with the Blood Riders, and the Crimson Riders, and my Crimson Riders manage to race across the battlefield and go directly into Clan Stormcloak, the Brethren of Valiah. So that part was all kinds of awesome, engaging that unit of hammers into close combat. And now, for the rest of my army, I decided to chicken out. What I decided to do, instead of trying to cross that open field and heading directly to the Dwarves, I'm going to get shot to pieces if that ends up happening. So what I decided to do is I decided to take my marked men as well as my Black Legion, and they take cover in the ruined building right in the middle of the battlefield. Is what I decided to do, because they're occupying that building for a turn, because if this keeps on happening, they're going to get shot to pieces and all kinds of bad things are going to happen to them. So they go inside the building, and for my next turn, I'm going to try to charge out of the building and go directly into one of these other units and engage them in close combat that way, because I don't want to get shot anymore, and it's getting really, really painful. So that's the reason why I've done that. Now, I do run the risk, of course, that if he does open fire on that building, I could lose all my guys because the building gets shot to pieces, but that is the risk I am willing to take at this point. For the rest of my army, though, for like the flares, this 8 points are still engaged in close combat with Bugman's Rangers and left-hand flank, and that pretty much makes up the movement phase for this one. So here is a close-up of that beautiful flank charge that Iron Major managed to get with his Bugman's Rangers directly to the left-hand flank of the flares at the 8 points. The only thing that might be good about this combat is that my Herald is in this unit, so because that he could, make way, fight Joseph Bugman, challenge him in close combat. I could kill Joseph Bugman and maybe kill a couple of Rangers as well, because there is one good thing about my Bloodletters: they have Killing Blow, and so this unit has Frenzy that kind of doubles the amount of chances of getting Killing Blow off. Not to mention, Bugman's Rangers do not have ward saves. The only thing they have right now, I believe, their Liquid Fortification special rule gave them Stubborn, so they're just stubborn for right now, which of course isn't such a big issue for them because I'm disrupted, they're not. They have more ranks than me than I do, so it doesn't really help them out so much in this situation. And I forgot to mention at the top of the screen, Karnak, the Hound of Khorne, as well as the Flesh Terrors do arrive with the Ambusher special rule right behind the lines there, so I'm really looking forward about that. I'm planning on sending Karnak directly into the back of the Clan Road Soaker because Ivar Bodison, the general of this army, is the target that I'm going after. At the same time, my Flesh Terrors are going to start tearing up some good old-fashioned Dwarf war machines as well. So I forgot to mention that last time of the overhead shot, but there they are, man onto the battlefield. I'm looking forward to see exactly what they can do. And here's a close of the right-hand flank with my Crimson Riders charging directly into Clan Stormcloak. I'm really looking forward to chopping up some hammers with these guys. I'm really looking forward to it. I love when Juggernauts just run over people, so that's going to be all kinds of good at the same time. And lastly, here is a close-up of my 2 units, my Black Legion, as well as the Markmen, hiding inside that huge building right there in the middle of the battlefield as well. And let's just take a moment to appreciate that building. That's actually one of the buildings that Iron Major created for our Mordheim battle reports. And the nice thing about all the ruined buildings that Iron Major has made for our Mordheim battle reports is that we could use them for Warhammer Fantasy Battle and make them look really, really cool at the same time. So, Iron Major, buddy, if you're watching this video, thank you very much for making that tower for us. It is all kinds of awesome. And it's also sheltering my Chaos Warriors from you shooting at them, because it's all kinds of horrible. But anyways, we laughed about it. It was all good fun. Taking on Iron Major is always a challenge, and I love playing against him because of it. Not only does he make beautiful terrain, he's also a skilled Warhammer general. And at the same time, you can see a close-up there of my Scions Destroyer skirting around the right-hand flank, trying to make their way directly toward those Dwarven artillery lines. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And finally, I get to summon from beyond some demons onto the battlefield, so that part was kind of neat as well. When I rolled the power dice, I rolled 2 6s, so because I get to summon up 2d6 plus 3 Bloodletters of Khorne, because my army is a Khorne army, which is kind of funny because, Khorne traditionally doesn't use magic. So that part was all kinds of excellent. That really helped me out in the end. And as you can see in this photo, I managed to sum up 10 Bloodletters, which is all kinds of nice. So because of that, there's 10 Bloodletters, we'll end up right in front of the Decemberists. Yeah, they're going to get shot to pieces from that organ gun, but then again, these guys are newly summoned demons. They don't cost any points if I lose them, and it's nothing but just gravy for me at this point as well. And that's all I do for the magic phase. I decide not to cast magical blades of IBAN because it's not going to help me, and plus I could run the risk of actually getting a miscast, which could blow up my unit of Black Legionnaires, so I decided not to cast any magic. Like I said, Svarthal the Weakest is living up to his name at this point. So with Magic Phase over with, we skip the shooting phase and go directly to the combat phase, and as you can see in this photo, the good things start happening for my army. The first thing that ends up happening is, of course, that issue a challenge with the Sanguine Skinner, my Battle Standard Bearer, my Herald of Khorne, issues out a challenge, and Iron Major, of course, accepts it with Joseph Bugman, and they both go directly into close combat. A thing, though, however, that Iron Major forgot, though, is that my Herald of Khorne does have Killing Blow, and because he's got the Greater Locus of Fury, instead of having 3 attacks, he actually ends up having 4 attacks. So because I do strike at him, I actually hit him 3 times, and when I roll to wound, I roll 2 6s for the killing blow. And unfortunately for Iron Major, he does not have a ward save for Joseph Bugman, and just like that, bam, I killed Joseph Bugman for this unit as well. I also managed to kill 2 more members of Bugman's Rangers at the exact same time. And in response, I actually did pretty good on this one. The Bugman's Rangers kind of flubbed the rolls for the most part. They only managed to kill 1 of my Bloodletters, so I got off really lucky on that part. Unfortunately, I am disrupted, so because I don't get any rank bonuses, so technically speaking, I think I won this combat is what ended up happening, or maybe it might have been a draw. I think, no, I won by a point, I think is what ended up happening. So I didn't take a photo of this, but I do a combat reform real quick, so that way my Bloodletters are facing off against Bugman's Rangers, and we're going to go another round of combat between these 2 units. Meanwhile, combat between my Crimson Riders and the Clan Stormcloak was not good at all. I managed to kill 3 of the hammers. That was all I was able to do. I just flooded my rolls. The Bloodletters riding didn't really do anything in close combat. The Juggernauts also flooded the rolls too, so not much really happened from there. However, Iron Major, was able to put the wounds directly onto my guys. Managed to put 6 wounds, I'm sorry, not 6 wounds, 5 wounds directly onto my Crimson Riders, killing 1 of my Juggernauts of Khorne, so that part was pretty horrific. He won combat by a landslide, but luckily, I'm demons, I'm unbreakable, so we go another round. So with that, we go directly to the top, turn number 3 for the Dwarves, and this photo is taken after the move phase, and as you can see in this photo, Iron Major does do some movement. He really can't shoot at much of my army at this point, not really, so what he decides to do is kind of do like this wheel formation with his main battle line. As you can see, Clan Helheim stays exactly where they're located at, they don't do any movement. However, Clan Roadstoker marches up, and same with the Clan Izmir, kind of like rounding, kind of like a wheel formation. That way, it looks like what he's trying to do is line up his army, so that way if I do charge at the building directly at his forces, he can take pot shots at him as I charge across the battlefield to his units, which is actually a smart idea because with dwarf crafted weaponry, he actually gets a +1 to hit when shooting at me, charging at him. So that part's kind of nice for him as well. Other than that, though, everything else pretty much stays exactly the same. Clan Stormcloak is still engaged in close combat at the top of the screen there with the Crimson Riders, and Bugman's Rangers are still engaged in close combat with the Flayers of the 8 points on the bottom left-hand corner. And of course, Karnak as well as the Flesh Terrors are still there on the top of the screen. So here's a close-up of the Flayers of the 8 points, scoring off against Bugman's Rangers. And like I said before, I forgot to take a photo of it the last combat phase, but I did do a combat reform to square off directly against Bugman's Rangers, and I'm really looking forward to exactly what happens in this combat. Killing Blow was a huge factor when I fought against the Bugman Rangers the first time, so hopefully he'll be able to help me out this time around as well. And here's a close-up of his infantry forces just kind of marching up forward in kind of like a wheel formation, getting ready to square off against my forces. He decided not to panic. I thought he was actually going to turn 180 to deal with Karnak as well as my Fleshhounds, but then I remember he doesn't have to because War Machines can turn 180, do 360, and open fire with their weapons at any target they want to, so that part was pretty rough. And finally, here's a close-up of the Organ Gun, the Decemberist, squaring off against my newly summoned Bloodletters. They're not engaged in close combat, they're just kind of stuck right there in front of them by an inch. And over there on the right-hand side, you can still see that Clan Stormcloak is still engaged in close combat with the Crimson Riders. So with the move phase over with, we skip the magic phase because Dwarves don't play that game, and we go directly to the real Dwarf magic phase, which is the shooting phase. And as you can see in this photo, it was not good for me at all during the shooting phase. First of all, what ended up happening is that Iron Major decided to open up with Clan Helheim. If you can see there, a couple of the Bloodletters were engaged within the firing arc of Clan Helheim. I think 2 or 3 shooters were able to take off, I think 1 or 2 of my Bloodletters. However, it was Grim Borlaugson, that guy really unleashed it. He's got Grudgeraker, which gives him 2d3 shots. He got 6 shots off of that thing and just blew away 4 of my Bloodletters. So just like that, those newly summoned Blooders are cut in half just from that, you know, double-barreled shotgun thing that Grim Burlockson is carrying. That guy was super deadly. At the same time, Iron Major decides to turn the organ gun 180. Same thing with his cannon. He turns it 180 as well. The cannon opens up a great shot directly into my Flesh Terrors, and as you can see there, tore the flesh off my Flesh Terrors and killing all 5 of my Flesh Hounds, so that part was kind of sad. And they opens up the organ gun directly into Karanak, and Karanak just gets blasted off the battlefield, being blown to bits by an organ gun. So that part was really, really sad. I don't mind telling you. So with the shooting phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. In the combat phase, however, things turned around for my army and all kinds of goodness. So you can see in this one, I do manage to kill 5 members of Bugman's Rangers. They do manage to kill 2 of my Dwarves as well. So because of that, both of us have Standard Bearers, which of course both can't cancel out. I got 5 kills. He has 2, which brings my combat resolution to 3. He has a rank. I have a rank, so nothing happens there. But I also do have a Battle Center Bear in this unit as well, so that brings up my combat res to 4. And because of that, I do win by 4, so he has to roll, I think, under a 5 in order to hold his ground, which unfortunately Iron Major fails that break test. He breaks, and I have to pursue because I have Frenzy. He goes 7 inches, I go 10, and I'd run down and kill every single member of Gorepilgrims Rangers, which is all kinds of awesome. As an added bonus, that also takes me outside the firing arc of Clan Izmir, so I don't have to worry about being shot at as well. It also gives me a wonderful opportunity to maneuver my Flares of the 8 point to get up a good flank charge directly on the Clan Izmir, so that's what I plan on doing for that one. So that combat really, really helped out. However, combat between my Blood Riders, my Blood Crushers, as well as Clan Stormcloak, the brother of Valaya, is entirely one-sided. I do manage to kill 2 more Hammerers, which is awesome for me, so hooray, but they managed to kill off another of my Blood Riders, so that part was horrific. I was just dropping the ball and flubbing my attacks like nobody's business. It was absolutely horrible. I've been told before that Blood Crushers are actually a bad investment to use for a unit, that Skull Crushers of Khorne are much more valuable. However, I just didn't want to spend extra money on those guys. I just had these guys on hand, so I'm going to try them out and see how it still works out for me. So as you can see there, I still have 1 more demon left. He is okay because he's unbreakable, and so we go another round with these guys. So with that takes us directly to the bottom of number 3, so we're going with the Chaos Legion of Khorne on this one, and this photo is taken after the move phase, and I charge forward. I just send everything I can into what I can because I have to engage these guys in close combat because that's how this army plays. If I'm not in close combat, I am losing, and that's pretty much how it works. So the first thing I do, of course, I declare a charge with my Signs of the Destroyer. They go directly into the gap that was created from losing my 2 Blood Crushers, and they go directly into Clan Stormcloak, so I'm really looking forward to that because that unit also has Frenzy. I also charge forward with my 5 Bloodletters directly into the Decemberus and getting that into close combat, which I'm also kind of interested in seeing how that works out too, because unlike other armies, Dwarf gun crews are actually pretty reliable fighters, and they are also stubborn as well. So I do have my work cut out for me attacking war machines. Attacking Dwarf war machines is not like attacking anybody else's because Dwarf war machines, they don't care. They will fight you to the last, so that part's kind of cool. At the same time, I also charge in my Black Legion. They go directly into Clan Helheim, the Fall of the Dragonback, so because of that, those Thunders are engaged in close combat. The Marked Men also charge out of the building as well and go directly into Clan Roadstoker, the Cursed Company, and that part is all kinds of cool. I do a quick switch reform with the Flares of the 8 points. I do pass my leadership tests for them to turn, and then just move up their normal movement allowance, heading directly into the flank of Clan Izmir. And that pretty much makes up my move phase for this one. So here's a close-up of the left-hand flank of the army, of the battlefield. As you can see, my Flares of the 8 points are moving as quick as they can directly into Clan Izmir, so I'm really excited to see exactly what kind of harm I can cause in that combat. And the one I'm really looking forward to is the combat between my Marked Men as well as Clan Roadstoker. I have Scylla Angraphim as well as some Chaos Warriors of Khorne with halberds, with Frenzy, and they'll never lose that Frenzy, so I'm really excited to see exactly what kind of damage they can do directly to that unit. And here's a close-up of the Black Legion charging directly into Clan Helheim, and I have no doubt whatsoever they'll be able to put the smackdown directly onto those Thunders, because we're talking about Strength 5 Chosen, who are actually Strength 6 because they get +1 from their halberds. They have Frenzy, which means every single one of these guys have 3 attacks. The champion has 4 attacks, so I'm looking forward to see exactly what happens with these guys as well. And then here's a quick on the right-hand side. You see a close-up of my 5 Bloodletters engaged with the Decemberist in close combat. And finally, here's a close-up of my Scions of the Destroyer charged directly into Clan Stormcloak, the Brethren of Elian. I'm really looking forward to see exactly what happens to that one, because these guys have ensorcel weapons. They also have Frenzy as well, so I'm really looking forward to see how that combat goes. So because of that, we go straight to combat phase. I voluntarily skipped the magic phase because Varfall the Weakest is not really good at magic, so I decided to jump that gun. At the same time, I also decided to skip the shooting phase because I don't really have any shooting in this army, and we go directly into close combat. And combat was pretty lackluster. The marked men didn't do all that much damage like I was hoping for. In the end, I did manage to kill 5 dwarves, which is pretty good at the same time. However, though, they make their break check. They don't, fall out or run away. Same thing with me, so we're just engaged in close combat. However, the part that was really scary, though, is that Scylla Angerfim, my opponent, Iron Major, decided to declare a challenge with his character, Ivar Bodison, and Scylla Angerfim, my general, decides to go up against him as well. And he takes 2 wounds for his trouble, while Ivar Bodison is completely fine without any injuries whatsoever. That part was absolutely scary. I forgot that Scylla Angerfin is not exactly as good as a Demon Prince. He just like souped up Chaos Spawn is all he is, and I did not take that into account when I fought against him. I totally forgot about how tough Ivar Bodison was, because Scylla Angerfin was only strength 5 against a toughness 7 opponent. He wasn't doing anything to him, no matter how many attacks he got. So that part was all kinds of bad. So I think I might have made a mistake on that challenge. Meanwhile, the close combat between Clan Helheim as well as the Black Legion was definitely one-sided in this case. First of all, I declare a challenge with the champion that's inside of the Black Legion, and this is the only unit that actually does have a champion. And the reason why is because my sorcerer, Svarthfall the Weakest, is in this unit, and he doesn't want to fight anybody. So that's why I'm my champion, to declare challenges. So I declare a challenge, and Iron Major decides to answer with Grim Borluxon, because Grim Borluxon is actually pretty deadly in close combat. He's strength 6 in close combat with his Cog Axe that he can use as well. So because that my champion and his character square off in a close combat, I have higher initiative, so I go first. And because of that, I get 4 attacks off. I wound them 3 times. They slip through, and I kill Grim Borluxon just like that. And so because of that, Iron Major's character just ends up dying like that. When I roll from the Eye of the Guards chart, I actually get +1 attack for the champion. So now the champion has 5 attacks at strength 6. So he's absolutely terrifying in close combat as well. We then, of course, trade blows. When it's all said and done, I manage to kill 7 members of Clan Helheim. At the same time, they do manage to kill 3 of my Black Legionnaires. Needless to say, I won this combat by a landslide. They have to take a break test, and I pursue. However, I don't go very far. I believe the Clan Helheim guys, I think they ran back like 6 inches. I think I ran forward 8. So because I do destroy Clan Helheim, netting me some really juicy points. But because I was so close to Clan Roadsulker, my unit actually clipped that unit. So because it doesn't go any further, it overruns and kills Clan Helheim, but it goes directly into Clan Roadsulker as well. So now both of my close combat units are squaring off against the Cursed Company, and I'm really looking forward to fighting against those guys in close combat. Meanwhile, close combat between the Decemberists as well as my Bloodletters. I only managed to kill 1 member of the gun crew, as I ended up doing. The Dwarf gun crew also flubbed their rolls as well. They weren't able to do anything back, but because they're stubborn, they're not going anywhere, and I'm still stuck in close combat with these guys. I mean, look at the arms of that loader. I mean, look at the arms of that guy. That guy's arm is like bigger than the torso of a Bloodletter. These guys are vicious, man. Dwarves don't care when it comes to close combat, man. They're not going to run. They're just going to face off against you. So that part was actually pretty interesting. Over here on the far right hand side, the combat between the Scions of the Destroyers against the Clan Stormcloak was entirely one side. I think by it was all said and done, I managed to kill 9 Dwarf Hammerers when it was all said and done. They do, of course, manage to finish out the last of my Crimson Riders, so that guy's dead. And they also managed to kill one of my Chaos Knights as well. However, because I fought against these guys, no matter what my score was, it doesn't matter because Dwarf Hammerers are stubborn, which means that none of the modifiers for combat res affects their leadership, and of course, Dwarves don't break, so they just stand their ground, and I am stuck fighting against this unit for another round. I do a combat reform real quick to score off evenly against it, so I only have about 7 more of these dwarves to go through, including a runesmith as well, so I'm looking forward to that. But man, those guys are really tough to crack, man. You can't beat these guys. It's pretty tough. Not to mention also my Crimson Riders, man. They're pretty worthless this combat, but them's the breaks, I guess. I am really happy with the way my Scions of the Destroyer are fighting. They've been doing a really good job so far. Alright, so from there we go directly to the top of turn number 4 for the Dwarves, and this photo is taken after the move phase, and as you can see, the only movement that actually happened is Clan Ysmir. I was originally thought that Iron Mage was going to charge Clan Ysmir directly into my Flares the 8 points, but he doesn't. He decides to take a gamble instead. He charged directly into the left-hand flank of the Marked Men instead. And I was actually quite surprised by that result by doing that. The reason why is because it leaves the back of Clan Ysmir open for charging. It also leaves the left-hand flank of Clan Roadsoaker open for charging by the Flares the 8 points. So it leaves his back as well as the rear of his units really open for my Flares. However, looking back now and seeing what he did, it was actually a pretty smart move because by charging directly into the Marked Men, he disrupted my unit, which means I don't get rank bonuses against Clan Roadsoaker. So I think it was actually a pretty well placed gamble because the way he was playing it, as we were talking about it, he rationalized that if he did that, he could disrupt my units, I lose my rank bonuses, he keeps his, he also gets combat res from getting me in the flank, and he also gets a lot more attacks. So his plan was to break the Marked Men, and and at the same time, once he gets done, he can, if he manages to break me, he can combat reform and then deal with the Flares of the 8 points as it needs to be. So pretty crazy gamble, but that's exactly what he decided to do. So here's a close-up of that gamble that Iron Major is making. Clan Ysmir goes directly into the left-hand flank of the Marked Men, and Clan Roadsoaker, of course, is engaged in close combat. That does disrupt the Marked Men, which means I lose my rank bonuses, so I'm no longer steadfast on that part. So it will be kind of interesting to see exactly how that works out. Not to mention, Clan Ysmir is also packing great weapons, so these dwarves are honking in at strength 6 now because not only do they charge, get +1 for I think it's called Resolute or Relentless. That's what it is. They get +1 of their strength when they charge because of Relentless specials as well. So these dwarves are strength 6, so I do have to worry about that at this point. And here's a close-up of the rest of the battlefield with my Black Legion still engaged with Clan Roadsoaker, as well as my 5 newly summoned Bloodletters taking on the crew of the Decemberist. And finally, here's a close-up of the size of the Destroyer, currently engaged in close combat with the Chosen of Valaya, and the Clan Stormcloak, the Brethren of Valaya. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. So with the move phase over with, we skip the magic phase because dwarves don't believe in magic. We go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, oh good gravy, the shooting phase, Iron Major opens up with the Rememberer, his Grudge Thrower, and lands a perfect shot, smack dab direct hit right onto the Sanguine Skinner, my battle standard bearer. Oh my god, it was bad. He managed to slip that wound through and killed my battle standard bearer in one fell swoop. Just absolutely crushed him. At the same time, killing 3 more of my Bloodletters from the actual blast from the Rune of Penetration with the strength 4 on the blast on that part. So because of that, he just guts the Skinners of the Flares of the 8 points. And so because I do lose my battle standard bearer, and my opponent gets the juicy points on that one as well. Pretty much just nullifying the combat effectiveness of this unit. The only that actually saves the fact that I'm immune to psychology, because otherwise I'll be fleeing off the battlefield if this isn't any other unit. So that part was absolutely terrifying. And to make matters worse, the combat phase. Oh my god, the combat phase. So, first of all, Ivar Bodison and Scylla Angrafim are still engaged in close combat. Needless to say, Ivar Bodison had no problem putting the last few wounds directly onto Scylla and kills my army general. So he not only does he get the points for Scylla Angrafim, he also gets a bonus 100 points for killing my general as well. So that part was horrible. I could do nothing against him. Against toughness 7, I was just basically just pounding my head against a brick wall for all intents and purposes. So because of that, Scylla Angrafim just gets butchered right off the bat. I do manage to kill 6 Dwarf Warriors from Clan Roadsoaker, which is kind of nice. However, when Clan Roadsoaker decides to counterattack, as well as counterattack with Clan Ysmir, in the end they manage to kill 7 more of my Chaos Warriors, and just like that, they're getting chopped down. All I have left is 5 Chaos Warriors. Needless to say, I lost this battle, this fight, really bad. I take a break test to flee, and I flee. I run back like 12 inches. It was all kinds of horrible. Not to mention this unit is below quarter strength now, so because of that, they need Snake Eyes in order to rally, and it's not looking good for the home team at this point, so that part was pretty crazy. What ended up happening, though, of course, is that because Clan Roadsoaker is still engaged with the Black Legion, they can't go anywhere. The Black Legion does a combat reform and squares off directly against Clan Roadsoaker, so I'm hoping that my Chosen will be able to crack this unit, so hopefully that'll do good. And then Clan Ysmir, they actually combat reform real quick, turn 180 to face against the Flares of the 8 points. So that part was absolutely crazy as well. So that was all kinds of insane. So gamble worked out pretty well for Iron Major on this one. Meanwhile, on the top of the battlefield, though, things are not working out really well for my Bloodletters. 2 more of my Bloodletters get put down and sent back to the warp by that gun crew. I only got 3 Bloodletters left, and that gun crew is standing strong. So, whoo! Dwarf gun crews, man, they are no joke in close combat, man. They will fight you to the bitter end. So, that part's kind of crazy. And as you can see on the right-hand side, Clan Stormcloak, the Chosen of Alaya, do get killed to the last man. I managed to destroy those guys with the Scions of the Destroyer, and I do a quick combat reform because I plan on charging down the entire length of that artillery line and killing every single dwarf I see. Hopefully, because like I said, dwarf gun crews are not like other gun crews. They fight, so that's going to be kind of iffy on that part. So with that, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for the Chaos Legion of Khorne, and this photo is taken after the movement phase, and as you can see, I decided to charge in. Like I said, it is time to go all the way and try to take the initiative and to bring the fight to my enemy. I'm fighting a close combat army, and that's the only way I can win. So the first thing I do, of course, I declare a charge with the Flares of the 8 points. We go directly into Clan Izmir. So because of that, the Vengeful Ones are now engaged in close combat with my Bloodletters. At the same time, I also charge the Destroyers. The Scions of the Destroyers go directly into the right-hand flank of the Decemberist. Unfortunately, I can't fit my miniatures onto the hill, so you can see they're kind of angled, kind of weird, but they're also that way just to represent the fact that they're currently engaged in close combat with that organ gun, so that part was kind of nice. And lastly, for the remaining ruse phase, as you can see, I think Khorne was tired of my nonsense because I fled, I think, like another 9 inches with the marked men. They got to go through that forest, and they also had to take dangerous terrain tests for doing that. As you can see there, all of them failed their dangerous terrain tests and are killed to the last man. So here's a close-up of the main battle line taking place. The Flares of the 8 point taking on Clan Izmir. Hopefully, I don't know if my Flares are going to make it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I only got 5 of those guys left against a full unit of 17 Dwarf crossbowmen armed with great weapons. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to make that one. However, the fight, though, between the Black Legion as well as Clan Roadstoker, I am looking forward to that one because my boys, man, they're packing Strength 6 attacks. They all have frenzies, so I'm really looking forward to see exactly what kind of hurt my guys can do directly against Clan Roadstoker. At the same time, on the top of the battlefield here, you can see that the Scions of the Destroyer are getting ready to bring the pain directly on these dwarf war machines. Hopefully, enough of my destroyers can kill the kill the members of the Decemberists. Hopefully, I can kill them, then overrun directly to the Sorrows of Eld, and destroy them, and hopefully overrun them and go directly into the Rememberer. That's the plan I'm going with on that one. And here's a close-up of what is left of the marked men. Clearly, Khorne was not pleased with the result of the marked men because when they fled through that forest, I rolled for dangerous terrain tests and I rolled 5 ones. I threw my 5 dice and they all came at once. That's why we took a photo of this, just because it was absolutely insane. Apparently, Khorne was displeased with the marked men's performance and he vowed that none shall live for failing him. And there you go, off into the silent great beyond, into the warp. So we skip shooting as well as magic phase and go directly to the combat phase, and as you can see in this photo, the Flares of the 8 points did nothing really. I managed to kill 2 more members of Clan Izmir. That part was kind of nice. I got 1 through killing blow and 1 just a normal attack. However, Clan Izmir just chopped down the Flares of the 8 points to a man, just killing them outright with those great weapons. And as you can see here, they do a combat reform to square off against the left-hand flank of the Black Legion, and I'm starting to get PTSD from what happened to the marked men. And I'm thinking the same thing's going to happen to my Black Legion, which is all kinds of bad. And oh my goodness, the combat phase. The combat phase is absolutely horrific on this one. First of all, my champion has to declare a challenge because I have the guard chart, and of course, my opponent, Iron Major, decides to answer that challenge with Ivar Bodison. It is unkillable, tanky Dwarf Lord build. I do nothing against him. Even with Strength 6, my blows just do absolutely nothing directly into Ivar Bodison. He managed to save all of his wounds, and he managed to put the Curb Stomp directly into my champion, killing him outright. To make matters worse, I decided to also respond with the combat. I do manage to kill 6 Dwarf Warriors, which is absolutely kind of cool on that part. That part was kind of nice. However, in the end, I lost, what was it, 5? Yeah, 5, 6, 7. I lost 7 Chosen when it was all said and done, including my Sorcerer, Svarthal the weakest, Ragnar the Spellbreaker, the Runesmith, as well as the Battle Standard Bearer Yorick Shatter Shield. They decided to make way and go directly into Svartfall, the weakest. I believe it was actually Ragnar the Spellbreaker just kind of killed my sorcerer right off the bat. He's showing a wizard how things are done in the combat world and just managed to kill Svartfall, the weakest. At the same time as well, his Thane Yorick Shatter Shield, as well as the rest of the Clan Royal Soaker, put their attacks directly into my unit and managed to kill the rest of my Chaos Warrior, my Chaos Chosen. Needless to say, I lost this battle bad. I fail my break test, I run back 6 inches, the Dwarves run forward 8. And as you can see in this photo, Clan Royal Soaker just runs down and kills the Black Legion to a man and just absolutely destroys that entire unit. That part was insane, the amount of destruction that Clan Royal Soaker did against my Chaos Warriors. That part was absolutely atrocious. However, the good news, was that I was able to kill off the last of the crew of the cannon. In the end, I think it was the Dwarf Warriors managed to kill 2 more of my newly summoned Bloodletters, and then of course the Destroyers were able to destroy the rest of those guys and managed to kill off the crew of the Decemberists. They overrun the course directly into the Sorrows of Eld, so because that cannon crew is now engaged in close combat, and at the same time my Bloodletter just kind of goes over directly to the Remember the Grudge Thrower as well. So hopefully I can destroy these war machines, and then hopefully I can save this game by killing off the rest of the army. That's my plan anyways. And I also have to admit, I also made a mistake on this photo as well. As you can see there, the cannon is gone. And the reason why the cannon is gone is because, for whatever reason, I guess we forgot, I lost track of combat or whatever the case may be. I thought I could attack again for whatever strange reason, and Iron Major thought I could too. So because we did fight it out, I do manage to kill the cannon. In the end, I do manage to destroy the Sorrows of Eld, and then I do a quick combat reform with my Chaos Knights, as you can see there. And I also, the crew of the Remember just, of course, kill my very last of my Bloodletters. So we do make a mistake on this battle, because that should not have happened. I do apologize for that mistake, but we know we were also kind of into the game. It's been a while since we played Warhammer Fantasy Battles, so we were just kind of, into the game too much and really thinking all that clearly we were playing it. So I do apologize. We do make that mistake, but I'm going to report it like it happened, and that's what ended up happening there. So from there, we go directly to the top of turn number 5 for the Dwarves. As you can see in this photo, they basically just kind of turned 180 to square off against my my Chaos Knights, just because my Scions Destroyer, the only thing I have left. Hopefully what can end up happening is I can charge into that unit, destroy it, and hopefully try to salvage this game in some way. This battle has been extremely bloody with a lot of back and forth between the two of us. So if I can do that, that's the best thing I can do. And as you can see, there's not much movement. Clan Izmir stays exactly where they are behind the forest. You can't kind of really see them, but they're behind the forest there. And the only real movement that takes place is Clan Road Soaker switching around to face off against the Scions of the Destroyer. However, in the shooting phase, as you can see in this photo, though, Clan Izmir opens up their crossbows, managed to kill, I think, 2 of my Chaos Knights, so that part was kind of sad. I only have 7 Chaos Knights left, which is all kinds of tragic. Obviously, the Grudge Thrower can't do anything because it's too close, so the only thing I was able to do was the crossbows. So that pretty much makes the turn for the Dwarfs. And with that, that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 5 for the Chaos Legion of Khorne. And for my only move that I have left, because the only thing I have left is my Chaos Knights, I charge forward. This is the moment I can either make or break this combat. My plan is if I can kill this unit, if I can destroy this unit, I might be able to salvage the game. Just the points, the amount of points that's inside this unit would be really good. I'll get his General, I'll be able to get his Battle Standard Bearer, I'll be able to get his Runesmith, I'll get the point value for the unit itself. So if I can destroy this unit, it's going to be nothing but victory for me, and that part is going to be freaking awesome if I can actually do it. So I go just full tilt, go directly into him, and engage him in close combat. We skip the shooting phase and the magic phase because I don't play those games. We go directly to the combat phase. And as you can see, combat doesn't go directly as planned. I do manage to kill a good number of the Dwarves. I actually managed to kill 6 Dwarf Warriors when it was all said and done. However, they in turn were able to kill 5 of my Chaos Knights in response. Just as characters alone, I think, were enough to actually kill 4 of them. I think the last one was killed by combined attacks by some of his Dwarf Warriors. So, needless to say, I lost this battle by a landslide, and I gotta take a break test. I take my break test, I fail my break test, and I start running for the hills as quickly as I can. I think I managed to get back, 8 or 9 inches when I managed to run away, and the Dwarves were like 6 inches right behind, managed to chase me 6 inches, so only 3 inches right behind me. And there's no way I'm going to be able to recover this unit whatsoever. They're going to fly off the table, and so because of that, I just pretty much call at this point because there's no way I'm going to be able to win this one. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That takes us directly to the end of the game, with the Dwarves managing to get the win on this one. And yes, Iron Major tabled me and destroyed the entirety of the Gorepilgrims of the Bloodwind spoil. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going directly to the after action report, because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright folks, now it's time for the after action report. This is a battle report. We talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for the Golden Age Warhammer Fantasy Battle number 86, and this one ended up being a defeat for Commander Cheapskate. I lost this battle bad. I managed to score 1,954 points out of Iron Major, and Iron Major scored 3,705 points out of me. For my losses, I lost Scylla Angerfim, my general, Svarthal the Weakest, my sorcerer, the Sanguine Skinner, my battle center bearer, Karanak, the special character, the Flares of the 8 points, my Bloodletters, the Markmen, my Chaos Warriors, the Fangs of Nier, my Chaos Warhounds, the Black Legion, my Chosen of Khorne, the Signs of Destroyer, my Chaos Knights of Khorne, the Crimson Riders, my 3 Blood Crushers, and my Flesh Terrors, my 5 Flesh Hounds. Basically, I lost everything in this battle. It was all kinds of bad. Iron Major, he lost Torstick Blackbriar, one of his rune smiths. He also lost special character Grim Borlikson, as well as Joseph Bugman. He lost Clan Helheim, the Fall of the Dragonbacks, as well as Clan Stormcloak, the Brethren of Valaya, his hammers. He also lost the Sorrows of Eld by accident, because he made a mistake on that one. He lost the Decemberist, as well as Bugman's Rangers. This was an extremely bloody game, I do not mind telling you. I think Khorne, the Chaos God of Blood and Warfare, is quite pleased, because he cares not from whence it flows, only that the blood shall flow. And the blood did flow on this one. And this battle also illustrates how tough dwarf gunlines are and very brutal to go up against, and this battle kind of proves it as well. My problem, of course, was that I failed to assault the flanks. Assaulting the flanks is the only way you can break a dwarf gunline, and I didn't do that. I attacked the right flank, which is kind of great, which kind of showed you how well that worked out, but not the left flank. I left too many of my forces right smack dab in the middle, and because of that, they got shot to pieces like they should have, because I was playing like a total noob on this one. However, having Scylla Angerfim as my general might not have been the best choice for this one. Yeah, his leadership 10, but he's just a souped up chaos spawn, and I did not take that into account when I chose him for my general. He just kind of bounced off of Ivar Bodison, so that part was kind of crazy as well. Not to mention my Chaos Sorcerer, Svarthal the Weakest. He definitely lives up to his name in this battle report. Lost one of his spells, couldn't get any spells off. It was all kinds of bad. I might have to rethink my hero and lord choices for this army. However, my units, once they got into close combat, though, they definitely wrecked up a lot of guys as well. The only problem, though, is that my guys took a lot of losses before they got to close combat with the Dwarves, so because of that, they weren't as destructive as they could have been, because they lost a lot of their mass and the momentum, getting shot to pieces crossing that battlefield. Not to mention, Iron Major was rolling insane parry saves during this battle report. He was rolling like he was going out of style. His dice were on fire, or mine were just all kinds of bad on this one, so I just, it was absolutely horrible for me as well. Also, I think that Khorne was also upset with me for hiding inside of buildings instead of, in the village, instead of, engaging the enemy and, taking my chances. I think Khorne frowned upon the fact that I was taking cover in buildings, so he decided to punish me for my cowardice with really weak dice rolls, so I think that's what I ended up having for that one. Regardless, though, this was still an excellent game against an excellent opponent, and as always, I am looking forward to the rematch. So that's good to do for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is always appreciated. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good to do for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out, and stay classy.